Hello and welcome to the demonstration of the FLPPS Learning Management System. My name is Tommy Van Auken. I am the LMS Client Services Supervisor here at FLPPS, and I'm going to take you right in. Okay, so looking at the dashboard, the first thing you're going to notice is this big area for branding. Basically, for us, it's a static image saying that this is the FLPPS learning community. For you, you might choose to have a rolling carousel of images that scrolls left to right. You might have a link to your newsletter where it just brings up your newsletter within the website. You could even link to an HTML page, your full-blown website from here so people could look at it within the LMS. Totally customizable, as are any of these components of the dashboard. They operate on a widget system, and it's basically thinking of it like building blocks or website Legos. Where you can customize anything that appears and any sort of size as well. So this could be divided out into thirds of pages, two-thirds, half page, you name it. It's doable. But scrolling down, looking at the learning plans, a learning plan is basically a curriculum. It's a series of courses that could be taken either sequentially or non-sequentially, but are all of the same topic and idea. And this is where they'll show up for you, what's been assigned to you. Right now, all of these are in progress, but it'll also say here if it's not started or even if it's completed as well. Another place that you could look at sort of the courses that you have to work on currently is this status of assigned training bar. First, we'll take a look at ILTs and webinars. ILT stands for instructor-led training. Webinar is sort of remote learning, like a Zoom session or a team session that's also led by an instructor. But this is where you'll see if you have any assignments for ILTs. Here's where you'll see any e-learning courses that you have not yet started. And this is where you're going to see in progress courses that you have started but not yet finished. Over here is where you're going to see any deadlines that you have coming up. So if there's a course that you've been assigned, whether it's an ILT or an e-learning, you'll see the deadline for it here. Luckily, right now I don't have anything on deadline. And over here is your assignments to evaluate. Now, these are only going to be visible to instructors or managers of a team, and this is the place where you'll look to see your students, your learners, where they've submitted their assignments. So scrolling down, this location right here on our dashboard is a place for team documents, sort of like an internal SharePoint-esque site that's native to our LMS, where you could put, training manuals, job aids, maybe a PDF or a stray compliance document that you need people to look at and have it visible. This is one of the places that you could click to look at the course catalog. And these two over here are places where you could link up your external training. So this, you could import any external training document from anywhere, and you'll be able to upload your certificate, say when you achieved it, and other details that I'll show you in an upcoming section. Over here is Certimi. Certimi is a place that conglomerates a lot of trainings in the healthcare sphere, and puts your certificates up for you. And so if you have a Certimi, you'll know that you have a Certimi, and it'll be able to track your certifications in the relevant field. This is a link to ask any questions. It's basically an email a link where you can message the learning@flips.org email address to ask any questions that you might have. So let's look at this in more detail. The first thing we're going to look at in greater detail today is the learning plan status section. I'm going to go ahead and jump into one of these to show you what a typical learning plan looks like. This one has 11 courses. I am currently 0% of the way through it, and you'll see which ones that I've clicked on and which ones that I haven't clicked on. You are able to freely navigate this learning plan and take any of these courses in any order that you like, but you're also able to set it so that you could only take them sequentially. So in this case, I would be forced to, if I chose this, click this course first, finish the course, and then only after finishing it would I be able to move on to the next one. Again, that's not how this one's set up, but that is always an option. You'll also notice that there are a blend of e-learning and live in-person trainings, also known as instructor-led trainings, within this learning plan. That is a very simple overview of what a learning plan looks like. I'm going to show you another one real quick. Um, this one is a series of all instructor-led trainings, and you'll notice that I've taken a few of these, completed a few of these, and this is what a completion status looks like. This is a series on racial equity and health equity, just for those who are curious. That is the basics of the learning plan status. You'll notice that I also have an annual employee compliance training in here. That is what a lot of people end up using learning plans for, is to assign yearly training and have it be a curriculum that gets assigned out either at the end of the year or at the very beginning of the year to all employees to take. The next section we're going to take a look at today is the status of assigned training section. This is really useful to keep you up to date with all of your training that you've been enrolled in already. So we are going to touch on assignments to evaluate. Don't worry. It's just important contextually to look at the other ones first. So ILTs and webinars. Let's jump into one. So the first thing you're going to notice at the top is just some branding, the sessions that are available, and whether or not it's completed. For me, it's completed. This is going to look a little different for those who have not yet completed their session. Right now we're on the September session, but since it's April, once you drop down the menu, you can navigate to the session of your choosing. And these aren't always month to month. They could be twice monthly, 4 times monthly, 5 times daily if you really choose that. It's completely modular and up to your preference settings. But for these sessions, they're run once every month. Let's take a look, since it's April, at the April session. Perhaps the most important part of looking at a session for learners is this box right here, and it's collapsible. You just click it. And the reason it's so important is that it tells you the time that the session starts, the duration of the session, and the tool that's being used, in this case Zoom. It also tells you how long until the webinar starts. Now, this is a countdown. This countdown, when it reaches 5 or 10 minutes before the session, it's going to come up with a green button similar to the green right here. And you're going to see a join the session button right here. And so when you join it, then it'll launch Zoom, and or if it's another video chat software, it'll launch that video chat software, and then you'll be able to participate in your session. Other things of note in ILT are the forums. There's comment section, where it discusses, where you're able to, as a user, post questions to the instructors or questions to your fellow classmates, discussion comments, anything that you really think is additive to the community. Please feel free to post on your ILT here. And then over here's your file repository area. So in this case, there's some information about vaccines, since this is a COVID-19 course, but you could have, if this were a compliance course, you could have your company's compliance document. If it were a mileage reimbursement form, there would be that in there. Really any documents pertaining to the course at hand. And finally, at the bottom, you find the instructors. These are the 2 instructors for this course. There's also some little email icons here. If you click that, you get to send an email directly to the instructor. So if you have something you need to talk about with them privately, or if you just think that it would be more convenient to get in touch with them that way, that's a great way to do it. So coming back up here, there is one more thing I would like to show you. Uh, so let's go back in time a little bit to the last September session. In the last September session, this is, remember, the all-important box for everybody to access their meeting. Instead of join the session, you have a view the recording. Now, this is an option. You don't have to enable recordings to be posted in your ILT. But when you do, you could have people who maybe missed a session due to a doctor's appointment or life events, come back in, view the recording, and then give them credit for attending the course. Now, of course, you don't have to give them attendance credit for the course via viewing the recording. This could just be up there for their viewing pleasure to get the material, and you can still require them to take the course in addition to viewing the video. But there is the option to have a video posted to the webinar. And that, in a nutshell, is what an instructor led training looks like. Now, let's go back to the dash. So, looking at the Not Started tab of Status of Assigned Training, you will find everything that you've been assigned, but you haven't started yet. So, when you go into View All, you'll see all of the courses that you've been assigned to complete and that you haven't started yet. Clicking on one, for example, you'll get a screen like this. It says Start Now. Then you want to start your course. Um, Bopping back to the dashboard, we could also check out the In Progress tab, similar to Not Started, except these are the ones that you've already started. So it's all of the courses that you've been enrolled in that you've already taken a look at. And you'll also see that there are learning plans in here. There are learning plans that you are in progress for. So basically, this just shows you everything that you have going on already that you yourself are working on. And then you'll see when you click on one of these, this is what you'll see. Okay. You'll get a resume where you left off button, or you could start it completely from the beginning. So back to the dash. So what are assignments to evaluate? I'm going to give you an example. Say you are teaching a class on photo editing and the software you're using is Photoshop, and you have like 8 learners in your class and they're all at different levels and they're all learning different skills. So you give them a comprehensive assignment. They need to go and edit this one standardized photo, and then submit their edits to you as the evaluator and to see where everybody's at in the course. And so you get they on their end submit assignments to you, via the LMS, and then you get them on your dashboard right here in assignments to evaluate. There's a couple different ways this works. The way that a lot of our courses are using it right now is, that they're external trainings, so they're hosted on other websites like Oasis or CPI. CPI, Center for Practices Innovation, is a partner of ours. They host a lot of great trainings and learning plans. But a lot of our customers find the need to conglomerate that training with their other trainings that are hosted with us. So what we do is we link to CPI and to Oasis so that learners go take the course in those portals, but then they submit as part of their assignment, um, in the same way that an essay or that Photoshop assignment would be submitted to the learner assignment tab here. And this is where you go to evaluate it as an instructor. You click evaluate and you'll see a file's attached. You look at that file and say, pretend for a second that we're back in the Photoshop class. You load that file and you see what they did. If they did the color correction correctly, or if they did, a stamp tool, or however they're editing that photo and however they're supposed to be editing the photo, you are able to give them a grade, and mark them as passed and mark them as failed. And that's basically how the assignments to evaluate works. The way it works with CPI is that the learners have to submit the certificate that they gained from the CPI website. And if the certificate matches their credentials in the FLPPS LMS, then you go ahead and mark them as passed, give them a score of 100, and move on. That is as simple as that for assignments to evaluate. Okay, so moving down to the team documents area. Like I said before, this is sort of a team, like a file repository area similar to SharePoint or to OneDrive. It just stores all of your team's documents, documentation, forms, you name it, anything that you want to put up here, basically, of any file type. You have here you'll see the Flips and Grin team channel, where it's documents that go out to all of our internal employees if they need help accessing them. There's also the resource library for care managers and care management agencies, very helpful for them. And then we have our customer file repository areas as well. That's basically all that there is to it. You can this file type is a link. You'll see this one's a PDF. See if there's any other ones. There's Excel documents. There's Microsoft Word docs, PowerPoints. Um, Really, any number of any file extension that you can think of, you could upload it there. The next section we're going to be taking a look at today is the course catalog. It's click here for a list of courses. It's going to bring you up to the course catalog page. There's a lot of the way that this works is it's categorized by topic or by agency. For example, Know Before or Think Cultural Health, or even who owns the courses. So the course catalog for Flips Grid internal employees. There's a community navigation pilot course catalog. There's the general course catalog, early childhood education, direct care, care management. The list goes on and on. We have quite a few: HR, time management, COVID, and professional development. And this is going to scroll for a while because I think we're up to somewhere around 1,000 courses in our system now. But we could go into just one of them, for example, flip, slip, trip, and fall training. Say that 10 times fast. And you'll come to just to the course that you select, and then you can take that course. If it's available in your catalog, you are able to take it. So this one's already completed for me. I mean, I built the course, so it would be. But for example, this one is a SCORM package, and basically how it would work is you would just click through the modules and go through it, and that's how you access. That's one of the ways that you can access your courses. Moving on, we're going to talk about external training documentation and Certime in the same section here. Certime is, like we said, an external site that tracks certifications in the healthcare field. If you have a Certime, when you click on this link here, you're going to be brought to the login page for Certime. If you don't have a Certime, you're not going to end up using this. It's really just for those that are already using it to port over their existing certs into the FLPPS LMS. As for external training documentation, any other external training that's not on Certime or one of these other certification tracking websites, you'll be able to import that here. So when you go in here, it'll load up and you will see that you could add a new activity. And then whatever you're certified for. Recently, our FLPPS employees was certified for their project management professional certification, and they were able to enter the Training Institute, the name of the course that they took, when they completed the course, and the score they got, how many CEUs or continuing education units that they received for it. They uploaded the file, and then for certifications and retraining, this is if you want to be reminded on a specific cadence when your course is going to be, or when your certification is going to be expired. You don't have to put anything here if you don't want to be reminded, but it's a nifty way of reminding you when you're due for a new round of certification. This also works with ILTs. So if you took the course from a date to a date in person, you could upload that information here as well. Finally, for the dashboard, we are just going to briefly touch again on the Contact Us button. It's a link to our email address, learning@flips.org. It's going to open a tab like this where it asks you if you want to open your email application and email learning@flips.org. We are very prompt with our responses. We pride ourselves on our customer service, and if you have any tricky questions, suggestions, ideas, we are always open to hearing them, and we appreciate the communication with us. So we're very responsive. Ask any questions you need, and we will be there for you. So that concludes this section of the demo. We're gonna go and cover in the next section the user menu. So let's head on over there.